Ryan, give me the details, the background of what had happened and why you decided to go ahead and call the police.
I was talking with my sister on Tuesday, with discussing plans to come over here to my parents' house, and she wanted to go through some of my mom's things, and because of circumstances, she had to wait until her husband left because he was really controlling and didn't want her talking with us while he was there. So we were waiting for him to leave, and that's when I got the phone call and we started talking about things. We started out talking about things about my parents, because she's been a very, very big part of helping manage the estate here. And that's when I sensed something was wrong, and that she started telling me about things have been really bad between her and Mike the past couple of days, and told me that she had erased all her pictures on her computer were erased all the way back to her childhood. And she voiced those concerns, and I immediately talked about, do you need to come stay here? You need to bring the boys and be here. And she said, I would, but that would put you guys in danger.
Did she seem that she was concerned for her physical safety when you spoke with her?
Well, that's always been a part of it. She's been threatened so many times by this guy that we knew that was going to pop up, and naturally I'm afraid for her because of in the past. I mean, this isn't the first time this has happened. I've got a text, and Shannon got the text too, the day of my parents' funeral, from Amber saying that she's genuinely afraid for her life. Mike's threatened me, but you can't contact me.
How long has this been going on, this abuse and these threats that you know of?
I would say several years. I mean, it's gone on before that, but all the big things have come out in the past few years. With him driving all the way from Texas to Missouri in a rage about some accusations that weren't even true, and breaking her nose, physical violence. Enough to where she had to go to the hospital. She had to have reconstructive surgery. So that's lurking in the back of my mind any time that we talked, is her safety.
Shannon, what was your first impression of Mike?
I didn't meet Mike until after they had been married for a few years, and he had come up to Missouri when I was living up there, and up front, and when he's in his good mood, he comes across as a nice guy that you wouldn't suspect anything. And that was kind of before we had any stories or any inkling that there was other stuff, because my sister, she protected her family and stuff, and she kind of kept a lot of that to herself until the past couple of years.
Shannon, did you when you had conversations with Amber, were there any words spoken from you to her regarding this, and trying to warn her, that tell her you need to get out of there? I mean, did you ever have those type of conversations with her?
Yeah, well, just like me, everybody else in the family had conversations with her. We didn't understand being on the outside. We didn't understand why she would stay there, given the circumstances, given the verbal abuse, the intimidation, the physical abuse. It made no sense to us, and we encouraged her to leave. We encouraged her, hey, go stay with mom and dad. You're safe over there, so do what you need to do.
Ryan, what was the reasoning that she would give when she would either go back after urging from family members why she would go back, or why she was staying with him? It
probably goes back to how we were raised. Family is the most important thing. She probably, we discussed it. Why she wanted to keep her family together. She wanted, to have the best future for Dalton before Brantley was born in February. So that's her motivating factor, and the fact that she was hoping that Mike would change. I think that some core of Amber, she always has loved Mike regardless of that, and has just wanted him to stop doing what he's doing, change. Like Shannon said, it's a mystery.
You went on the offense very quickly on the morning of the 24th after Amber did not answer your phone calls, your emails, and your text. When you took that approach, that that obviously says you were concerned about her well-being. Why were you so convinced that this was something of bad intention, not that maybe she just ran off because she had finally had enough of what was going on in the home?
To clarify that, going back to the day of my parents' funeral and that text that evening we received saying that Mike has threatened my life, but please don't contact me, because obviously she was in a volatile situation, and all she could do is get a text out. And we sent the sheriff out there and they did a wellness visit. I've been in really close communication with Amber because I genuinely fear for her life and her boy's life. And I don't tolerate what Mike is and what he has done to her. And so when Amber, we got finished talking on Tuesday about her coming out here and obviously concerns about her safety and her kids' welfare, come stay here. And, she said, well, these are all things that we're going to discuss tomorrow more heavily. And that's what I was going to do when she came over Wednesday. That's what was my intention, was to talk with her and say, hey, get something going on this. And she'd already told me that she was talking to the divorce attorney and had an appointment set for Friday.
There's been reports that you had and I don't want to use the word confrontation, but that you had a chance meeting with Mike at a business in Rising Star. Can you describe what happened that day?
Let me answer your last question as to why the urgency. Later Tuesday evening, I got a call at 9:30 from Amber telling me that, Ryan, if you don't hear from me, that means Mike has done something to me. What do you do with that? It's your sister. And that's where I was. I said, Amber, I need all the information first of all on this, and you need to understand I'm going to act on this. So you need to tell me everything. Do I need to come over there? Do you need to get your kids and everything in the car and leave? What's going on? Because to me, that just screams emergency. Do I need to get the sheriff involved again, or what? Tell me what I can do. And she said, no, we're fine right now. And I could hear Dalton in the background. He said, let me talk to Uncle Ryan. I could hear him on the phone, so we always talk. And she said, no, we're fine at the moment. I just felt I needed to tell you that. Hindsight, really? She had the insight to do that. And why didn't she get out of there? She genuinely feared for her life. To answer your question about over in Rising Star, I did that interview, and she videotaped me walking around town and doing that stuff. And after the formal interview, after we talked about a bunch of things, she wanted to personally interview Mike. And I said, of course, I encourage you to do that. She verified the address, and I know how hard it is to find. And so I immediately volunteered, hey, you know what, I'll do you one better. It's on my way back, I'll let you follow me, and you can see exactly where the driveway is in the gate, and then I'll let you off. And right there, I'm not going on the property, because Mike and I weren't on speaking terms. We pull right out from the city hall. I'm going to stop at this little gas station to get a drink because it's hot and I'm thirsty. And whose truck do I see parked right there in front of my face with Dalton standing up in the seat with his head hanging out the window? Is Mike's pickup truck. I immediately pulled my car in. I went over and flagged Kristen down and said, your interview is right here. Mike's is in the store. That's his truck. There's Dalton right there in the truck. She set up, and I went over and talked to Dalton, and he said, hi, Uncle Ryan, right away. Then his demeanor changed, and he said, I don't think I'm supposed to be talking to you. I'm not supposed to be this close to you. And I said, why? He said, Daddy said so. And I said, Dalton, where's your mom? And he said, Uncle Ryan, I don't know. And at that point, Mike came out of the store. And so I yelled down to him down the way and said, hey, Mike, how you doing? This is Kristen with the news station out of Abilene. She wants to do an interview with you. How do you feel about that? Or what do you think about that, is what I said. And he had a surprised look on his face. He says, I'll do that. And he came over, and Kristen was setting up. I was going to walk back to the car and just leave because I despise, and I'm not on speaking terms with him. But I was just restrained, and I could not walk to the car. I had to turn around. My brain was like, you have to he's right here. He's placed in your path. You got to talk to him. So I did. I said, hey, Mike, while she set up, why don't you and I have a conversation? And he came over, and his first question is, oh, where's Amber? And I said, that's a great question. I don't know. I'd like to ask you the same thing. You're telling me you don't know where my sister is? And he said, no. I said, so you can look me in the eye and you can tell me that you don't know where my sister is and you haven't done anything to her. And he stepped a little closer and he's just staring at me. I said, well? And he says, I'm looking you in your eye. I said, yeah, but you're not saying anything. And I said, I need to hear you say it. And I need to hear you say that you haven't heard Amber. And you don't know where she is. And he stepped a little closer, looked in my eye and said, I have not hurt your sister. I haven't hurt Amber. I don't know where she is. And at that point, I looked in his eyes, some muscles twitched on his face, and I knew that he was lying. And he's a very good liar. I asked him several other questions. He immediately started to tear down Amber, saying, well, you know that she's got some mental problems, right? And just started to discredit her. He started to discredit, said she was so depressed, she ran off, and who are these friends that she was supposed to meet with? He immediately started to tear down her credibility and put this all on her. And I was just really disgusted, just being there in his presence. He makes me feel horrible when I'm around him.
Did that confrontation with Mike that day, did that validate to you that for sure after seeing him face to face that he somehow absolutely was positive for your sister's disappearance?
Without a doubt. When I asked him those questions very bluntly, and I knew he was lying, it did validate stuff. And I just, what do you do? And here in the background is his boy, and Brantley was in the car seat in the back of the truck. And we got to tiptoe around because I don't know how crazy this guy is, and I don't know what he's done to my sister. And the boys are right there, and I can't say exactly what I want to say to the guy because I'm fearful for the safety of them. If he's done something to my sister, he's going to snap and do who knows what to these kids.
How difficult was that for you to see your nephews and realize, in your own mind at this point, you realized that your brother-in-law more than likely had something to do with your sister's disappearance, to see your nephews and realize that they were in his care? How hard was that for you to walk away from that situation?
It was tough. But what can I do? I have a lot of faith in law enforcement. I've been in communication with the lead investigator, and I felt that they were doing everything they could to get everything done to find my sister and to come to find the facts. Our families, I personally have been praying to find Amber and to get the truth. We're
just, less than 2 days removed from law enforcement finding remains on the Lowery property. When the law enforcement contacted you and you met with them so that they could tell you that, do you remember what your thoughts were initially?
Sick to my stomach. I know what Amber told me last time I talked to her. So, and everybody, I've had everybody's point of view, especially my sister. She was hoping that Amber had gone on something to just clear her head or get away from Mike or set some type of plan in place to, make some permanent changes in her life in a positive way. And I wanted to hope for that, but I know what she said to me.
Shannon, when you found out about the remains being found, were you still holding out hope that your sister was okay, or did you automatically know that something bad had happened to your sister?
I had known for several days that Mike he had done something to her. I didn't know what the capacity was. Of course, I didn't want to assume that it was something that was going to be final. But, I genuinely just had some kind of a feeling in me based on his past history and the times that she's called to us and the threats that he'd made that something was happening.